Okay, the other type of graph that we're going to talk about graphing today is a linear equation that's in point slope form. So let's refresh our memory what point slope form is. Do you guys remember? What's the general formula for? That's standard. A good guess. Point slope was y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Remember that? Yeah? Okay. So, and then there was a bunch of stuff that you could get from this just by looking at it, right? So, of course, the slope you get for free, whatever is in for m. M is just your slope. But then you also got some other point on this line. You didn't necessarily get the x or y intercept, but you got some random point on this line. Do you remember where that came from? Yeah, you take the opposite of this number, comma, the opposite of this number, and that's just some point on this line. So x1, comma, y1 is a point on the line. So if you want to graph something that's in this form, it's very easy if you know how to take this information out of the equation. So let's see if we can zoom out a little bit. So let me give you an example of a point slope equation. Let's do about y minus 2 equals 1/2 x plus 3. So you have one option. You could rewrite this into y equals mx plus b and then graph it that way, but that's so much work. You'd have to distribute the 1/2, you'd have to add the 2 to the other side. Oh my gosh. Can you do it? Sure. But why would you when there's such an easier way? You can just extract those two pieces of information out of here, and that's enough. That's all you need to graph this. So let's extract those two bits of information out of here. What is the slope of this thing? 1/2, I heard. Is that right? Does everybody agree? Slope is 1/2? Perfect. What is the random point that they gave you on this line? Lily, go ahead. Close. Don't you want x first, then y?
Oh, -3, 2.
Yeah, -3, comma 2. So that is a point on this line. Is everybody with me? You follow? So watch how easy it is to graph it. Just plot that point, -3, 2. -3, 2. And then you follow the slope. If the slope is 1/2, just like it was before, that just gives me directions. So from the point that I just made, where am I supposed to go? What are these directions telling me?
-1, 3.
You're right, but it confuses me when you give me the coordinates.
You're supposed to go up 1 to the right 2.
Yes, up 1 to the right 2. Up 1 to the right 2. Up 1 to the right 2. Put a couple of dots and there you have it. That's all there is to it. You don't have to do any math if you know how point slope form works. You just take the point out of it and then you plot it and follow the slope. That's it. That's your line. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So let's try another one. Say I gave you I don't know. How about y plus 4 equals, I know. How about -x plus 1? Something like that. So extract the two pieces of information that you need from there. Figure out what the slope is and figure out what the other random point on the line is. Once you know the point on the line, plot it and then follow your slope and you're done. How'd you do? Everybody's got a line graphed. So, what is the slope of this one? -1/1 if you want to write it as a fraction. Did we all get that? Yeah? So the slope is a -1. And what is the other random point on this line that they gave us? -1, -4. Correct. It's always the opposite of this number, comma, the opposite of this number. So when you go to graph your line, I hope you did it like this. -1, -4 is here. -1, -4 is there, right? And then you're just going to follow your slope. A slope of -1 tells me to go where? Down 1. Over which way? To the right. Always to the right. Down 1 to the right 1. That's it. So there is the graph of that line. Cool. That's not so hard. So it depends how your original line is given to you. If it's given in slope-intercept form, we start at the y-intercept and we follow the slope. If it's given to you in point-slope form, and you know how to use it, gosh, that was easy, right? You just do the slope and take the point out. But if you ever forget that, you can always rewrite it into y equals mx plus b. Distribute that -1 and minus the 4 over. But, gosh. Okay, so let me try and trick you. What if you saw something like this? So I gave you that. See if you can extract from that the slope and the random point that I'm giving you. What's the slope of this one? -3. And what is this other point? True? If you're doing slope-intercept form, your y-intercept is 6. You're right about that. But the other random point that they gave me without me having to do anything. Lily, go ahead.
2, 0. Oh.
Yeah, it's the opposite of this number, comma, this number. There is no number there, so it's just a 0. So if I'm going to graph it like this, 2, 0 is right there, and then I follow my slope down 3 to the right 1. And there you have it. This one would not be that hard to rewrite it in y equals mx plus b form if you wanted. So that's what Drew was doing. If you just distribute that -3, you get here very quickly. So if you wanted to do it that way, I mean, that only took me 1 second. So either way, it doesn't matter.
Wait, so it's the same thing, just different.
Because this, how this originally was given to you, is in point slope form. So I don't have to actually do any math, and I can graph this line. So you did a little bit of math. It wasn't hard. You could do the same thing here. You could rewrite this into y equals mx plus b form, but this would take a lot more steps. But this one's nice and easy. So, because think about it, right? If you're going to graph this one, once you start at 6 and then have a slope of -3, look at mine. It starts at 6 and it has a slope of -3. They're the exact same line. It's just 2 different ways to graph it. So it depends how your original is given to you.